I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Now we got the national anthem by Margot Gustafson. Where are you, Margot? Oh, here we are. All right.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming. And the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Margot, that was fantastic. Fantastic. Thank you. All right. It's time now for the club updates by our own James Stratton, who's putting this all together. Seems like he's doing a great job, isn't he? All right, James. Round of applause. All right.
Okay, I got a little announcement about the way we'll have to handle things. We're up pretty much to the limit of the place, so if anybody at all has a seat left at their table now that everybody's been seated, please raise your hand if there's any seats left and put up your fingers if there's more than one seat. And that way we can send someone up that's coming in the front doors. So we have a couple seats over here. So anyway, anybody else anywhere in the place have an empty seat? Okay, and there's one for doing the flag wavings and sign rallies and big meetings that they have all over town. And now they're starting to set them up in Hillsborough and other places surrounding. So everybody get in touch with Ron and Penny. They'll be up talking later quickly about how to get in touch with them. I want to thank all our call captains that call our volunteers, and we're refining our list. So make sure when you do sign in, make sure you always make it so we can read it, otherwise we can't get you the information. And anybody that wants to get information, wants to help us with volunteering, Margot Gustafson, who just did the national anthem, is going to be sitting in the back corner. Just go up to her, give her your information, and say that you'd like to volunteer, and she can kind of take your information and get ready to go. Thanks for everybody making this a great year for supporting President Trump and the children of the Florida Sheriff's Youth Ranch and Everett Connects Kids. And a lot of what we do here is thanks to you guys for having a table tonight. We'll have two different auctions. One will be after Roger speaks, and one will be at the end of the evening. And we'll be auctioning off. So we don't take any money from anybody here. We don't take donations of any kind. If anybody wants to donate to the Trump campaign, you go direct. Thank you.
My name is not Jesse Smollett. I am delighted to be with you. As I think some of you may know, this is a reschedule. I was scheduled to be with you previously. I had a bad bout of laryngitis,
probably because in those days I talked too much, so we had to reschedule. So I'm delighted to be able to make this up, and I'm obviously very honored by this turnout. Thank God for Donald J. Trump. There are times in history when the right person comes along at exactly the right time. We had reached a point in 2016 where the two parties working together had given us endless foreign war where our inherent national interests were not clear. The erosion of our civil liberties, using our intelligence agencies to collect metadata on American citizens. Immigration policies that left our streets and neighborhoods unsafe and that cheated the people who were waiting in line to come here legally for the promise of America. Trade policies that embrace these multi-international trade agreements, kind of one size fits all, like NAFTA, which literally sucked the jobs and opportunity out of America. And a flat economy where kids who graduated from college were forced to move back in with their parents because there were no jobs, where taxes were strangling us, and where there was no opportunity. Now, I go back to an interview that Donald Trump gave, has to be more than 20 years ago, with Oprah Winfrey, where she said, "What about you, Donald? Would you ever run for public office? Would you ever run for president?" And he said, "No, I don't think so. Unless things get so bad that I have no choice." That's where we are today. Some men ran for president to be someone. George Bush comes to mind. Donald Trump ran for president to do something, and that is making America great again. No president has had the implacable opposition of the two-party duopoly in Washington and the elites who like things just the way they are. And we see it manifested in the tsunami of fake news constantly attacking this president, his family, his administration, and his accomplishments. It is really extraordinary because 2016 was the year in which the mainstream media monopoly, the stranglehold on political coverage and the political narrative and the political news in America was broken by a vibrant and robust alternative media based in the internet. And now, the greatest single danger to the Trump revolution, indeed the danger to the Trump agenda, the Trump re-election, and the Trump legacy, is a systematic campaign of censorship on the internet. Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, Google, they are colluding to limit the voices of conservatives and Republicans and Trump supporters and non-liberals. I was in the hearing sitting next to my friend Alex Jones when I saw the testimony of the Google chairman and House Judiciary Chairman Jerry Nadler. I was waiting for that. Said that the idea of censorship of conservatives on the internet was a right-wing conspiracy theory. No, Congressman, it isn't. We have the internal documents, we have the internal videos from Google to show us that it is a systematic effort to eliminate the voices who work as an amplifier for one of the greatest presidents in my lifetime. And it is exceedingly dangerous as we go into 2020 to not recognize this danger. There are two storm clouds on the horizon for the president's re-election. We have a strong economy, and it's only going to get stronger. We have a president who is committed to fighting the entrenched interests in Washington to seal our southern border and secure America's safety. But we must have two things to ensure that this president is reelected. One is an unfettered, free access to the internet. Now, I can tell you as a political consultant and someone who, as a strategist, has elected dozens of Republicans and conservatives to public office, that prior to the formation of Facebook and the rise of the internet, a man or a woman could not run for Congress in most of the districts in the United States unless they had access to literally millions of dollars. That's because the most efficient mode of communications was broadcast television or broadcast radio, which in most major markets in America is prohibitively expensive. Facebook changed that in that it allowed us to geo-target with precision through paid advertising precisely those voters we needed to reach without reaching the voters around them that we had no need to reach. In 2018, Facebook systematically limited the Republican candidates' use of that tool while letting the Democrats use it unfettered. You wonder who was asleep at the National Republican Congressional Committee and why they filed no legal action, because this is a violation of the federal election law. Now let me talk to you about my own situation. As I think most of you know, due to a court order, I am limited now in what I can say. Roger Stone, who can't talk, is like Usain Bolt that can't run. It is frustrating night after night to watch the torrent, the tsunami, the flood of fake news in which CNN and MSNBC and the others recycle lies about me, knowing that I do not currently have the voice to respond. Recycling falsehoods again and again. Ladies and gentlemen, I don't get my news from CNN for the same reason I don't eat out of the toilet. So here's what I can tell you. I am facing 7 charges of lying to Congress and related charges. I have pled not guilty. Under enormous personal, financial, and legal pressure, I will not change my plea. I will go to trial this November. I really will fight for vindication because I know the truth. It's exactly right. But it is an enormously difficult experience. I have lost my home. I have lost most of my insurance. I have lost my savings. I have lost my ability to make a living because I make a living by reading and speaking. And of course, the things that people want to read and speak to me about, I'm unable to talk about these days. The cost of an aggressive legal defense is somewhere around $2 million. Obviously, if I could pay that expense myself, I would, but I am unable to do so, which is why I need your help. You can go to stonedefensefund.com, stonedefensefund.com, put it in your cell phone right now, stonedefensefund.com. You can contribute through PayPal. You can contribute by credit card. You can do a system where you contribute a certain amount every month on an automatic basis. And if you don't like putting your financial information on the internet, many people don't, there's a place there, which happens to be right here in Tampa because I use a local accountant, where you can mail a check. I need your help as never before. Now, I want to tell you a story about this. This is a Roger Stone. This is a stone, which I originally stole from one of my neighbor's driveways, but I, of course, replaced it. And I signed my name, and this is I sell this as a paperweight. It was kind of like a running joke, you know, a gag. And they weren't selling very well until Talking Points Memo and Rolling Stone and New York Magazine, the Huffington Post mocked me for selling them. Now I can tell you, I've sold over 15,000 Roger Stones. And you can get yours at two places. You can go to stonecoldtruth.com, go to the shop, they're available there. I'm going to be signing and selling stones back in that corner after the program here. You can come by there. We have a limited number of them with us because I can only carry so many stones. But that is one way you can help. Also, as some of you may have seen, when 29 heavily armed FBI agents stormed my home in the pre-dawn hours to arrest me, I was wearing a t-shirt that said, Roger Stone did nothing wrong. Here's an example. These can be purchased at 1776.shop. We also have a limited number of them with us tonight in all sizes, back in the right corner. And the proceeds, after costs, which are minimal, go again to my legal defense fund. It is true, I'm sure many of you have heard it, that I have a tattoo of Richard Nixon on my back. It's about the size of a grapefruit. It's between my shoulder blades, which means I'm the only person you know with a dick on the front and the back. And it is really not a political statement. For me, it is a daily reminder that in life, when things don't go your way, when you are defeated, when you are knocked down, when you struggle and strive for something that you want to achieve and you fall short again and again, you don't get discouraged, you don't get disappointed, you get back in the game. See, the story of Nixon is a story of resilience. It's a story of persistence. One cannot appreciate the majesty of the highest mountain unless one has been in the lowest valley. It is Nixon who said, a man is not finished when he is defeated. He is only finished when he quits. Ladies and gentlemen, I will not quit. Now, some of you may know that we were forced to move from the house you no doubt saw on CNN at the time of my arrest to a one-bedroom unit at an undisclosed location in South Florida, not far from where we lived before in Fort Lauderdale. One of the reasons that I had to do this was twofold. It was a question of security. They had identified where I lived, and there were all kinds of nuts ringing my doorbell day and night. Some of them well-meaning, some of them good people bringing checks, bringing food, bringing advice, bringing their prayers, and God bless them. But others menacing and negative and dangerous. But what really got me was when the tour bus pulled up in front. This is the home of Roger Stone. It got old. And we had to move to much smaller quarters because we have had to tighten our belts. On the last bout, I should also say, we couldn't afford a moving company, so my wife and I and a hearty band of friends and supporters did the move ourselves. We had to rent a U-Haul truck, and over about a week's time, we had to box everything up, move the big pieces, put most of it in storage because our new place is very small. And on the final day, in a freak accident, the truck either wasn't in gear or slipped out of gear, and it literally rolled over and hit my wife and broke her ankle. So she would be with me tonight, but she is unable to travel. She wanted me to tell you, thank you for your support. Thank you for your blessings. She, more than anyone else, has said to me, you are not pleading guilty to something you did not do, and has really given me the courage to fight for vindication. I believe this president can be reelected, but my greatest concern is overconfidence among his supporters. We've talked about the impact of internet censorship, and if the president does not order his Justice Department to take antitrust action against Google and Facebook and Twitter and the others, that will imperil his election. But the other thing, we've seen this in Florida more than any place in the country, is we need an honest count. We need an election in which only people who are legally eligible vote. There is nothing discriminatory or racist about requiring a photo ID to be allowed to vote. You need a photo ID to get on an airplane. You need a photo ID to buy a pack of cigarettes. There is no reason in the world why they should not require a photo ID to vote. Let me tell you a story one of my neighbors told me. Right there in Broward County, where Brenda Snipes was counting the votes. He showed up to vote, and he said, John Smith. And he gave his address, and the nice lady at the table said, well, Mr. Smith, you already voted this morning. I said, no, I didn't. She said, well, there's another person registered at your home, Myrtle Smith. She also voted this morning. He said, that's my mother. She's been dead for 2 years. No, our system in Florida is too porous. Now, I think Governor DeSantis is doing a great job. I salute him for abandoning the antiquated and discriminatory beliefs of Rick Scott when it comes to the use of medicinal marijuana, which, ladies and gentlemen, is superior to opioids any day of the week. The number of veterans that I know who are using it to treat PTSD, the number of people that who are depending on this medicine, I salute Governor DeSantis for a bold decision to work with the Republicans and the Democrats to make the access to medicinal marijuana available to the people of Florida. This is a great accomplishment. Secondarily, when you find out that they've been stealing in the state highway system, they've been stealing through the tolls, giving the people of Florida free access through June, and suspending the tolls is an act of leadership and courage. So, I think the president will get reelected. I think he can get reelected, but he needs to be cautious about getting an honest count. I don't believe we really lost the House in 2018. I believe voter fraud cost us the House. I think censorship on the internet cost us the House. But let me tell you what I know about Donald Trump, because I have known him for 40 years. I first recognized that he had the size, I don't mean the physical size, but the stature, the boldness, the courage, the audacity to be a great president in 1988. I wanted him to run again in 2000. Then I wanted him to run again in 2012. But I now recognize that had he run, the time was not right, the country and the time wasn't perfect. 2016 was the time when the American people were ready to change a tradition in which our presidents had always been governors or senators or generals, and turn to somebody from outside of politics. Donald Trump has lost money being president. Donald Trump didn't run for president to get a bigger house. He had a bigger house. He didn't run for president to get a better airplane. He had a better airplane. He didn't run for president to become well known. He was the best known businessman on the face of the planet. Donald Trump is contributing his salary back to the taxpayers. He's not doing this for himself, ladies and gentlemen. He is doing it for us. He is doing it for America. So, James, I thank you for your kind invitation and the ability to reschedule this. I thank you, so many of you, for coming out tonight. I ask you to stop by the table in the back, buy a stone, get one of my books, Stone's Rules, or To Make You the President 2016. We have a limited number with us. Get one of your iconic Roger Stone Did Nothing t-shirts. And if you can, we take cash contributions. We also have a square back there for a credit card. Make a contribution to StoneDefenseFund.com. I will fight, but I need you to have my back. Thank you, and God bless you.
Okay, guys, here's what's going to happen. Is Arvid Cowell here? Yes. Arvid, if you're here, raise your hand. No? Okay. Penny, if you could come up and talk to Andrew, I'd appreciate it. Thanks. Okay, what we're going to do, Roger's going to go back into the corner back here, and Andrew. So everybody be respectful of the line back there. He'll wait as long as we need to do anything. And then what we're going to do now is we're going to start with, Andrew's going to bring up a few people that are going to have to do with, oh good, Kristen, you're here too, good. I needed it. Yeah.
All right, everybody, wasn't that great? Unbelievable. It gave me goosebumps talking. I don't know about you. But anyway, that was great. And you know, right now I'm going to introduce somebody. This gentleman is Phil here. Phil Don. Hey. Phil was a foster child himself at one time, and him and his whole family, I believe, were foster children. And he himself now is a foster parent, right? No. And you're? Phil. Okay, Phil. Boy, I got a story from somebody wrong. Anyway, Phil, Dan, foster child parent story. He's going to teach you people about it and let you know what's going on. Phil, you got it.
Hey, thanks for having me. I want to thank Andrew. Doesn't remember me. He used to cut my hair when I was living in Pinellas County. I want to thank all the veterans that are here. We all wouldn't be if it wasn't for them. First responders. Can't thank Mr. Stone enough for all the work he's done. I want to say hello to all my friends from the Pinellas County GOP the Trump Club from Clearwater, where we worked our rear ends off to get Mr. Trump, now President Trump, elected. And can't thank him enough. So listen, I have a quick story. And like most foster children, I came up through the system in Massachusetts, the failed state of Massachusetts, and I started my journey off in an orphanage run by the Good Catholics of Boston. And it was a tough journey. My whole family ended up there, all my sisters, my brother, and we were scattered to the wind. And we all have a different story, and it was very difficult to come up through the system. The only thing that makes a difference with foster children are foster parents. And for those of us who go through the system, we don't have enough of you, enough of the good people. It's very hard to become a foster parent. I did it myself with my wife for several years, and it was very, very difficult, more so dealing with state agencies than with the children. But you are desperately needed, and it will never be forgotten. And I hope everybody can hear me. It's important now to support your local agencies and the local churches that are doing this great work that Jim's doing as well. It's very rare. I've been involved in politics for 40 years, and it's very rare that you have a political organization that does this type of work. And I can't thank you enough for it. My family thanks you. And so just give generously that you can. And I can't thank Jim enough again, and the Trump organization and the people that have worked so very hard to get Mr. Trump, President Trump, elected. It was a lot of hard work, and you deserve a lot of credit. We had Republicans against us. We had Democrats against us. We had the freaking FBI against us. We had the media against us, and we were a ragtag group of people, and we kicked their ass. Thank you. And visit Andrew's barbershop. He's a terrible barber, but I love him.
Phil, thanks for the compliments. But anyway, I'm used to it, believe me. Being a barber all my life, you've heard everything. No question about it. All right. I'm going to introduce right now Penny. Todd, you're coming up here. She's going to speak to you in a few minutes. She's got a couple things we're going to talk about. Penny, you got it.
Hi everybody. I just wanted to say that thank you very much for blessing the children of the Florida Sheriff Youth Branch. The Florida Sheriff Youth Branch was started over 60 years ago with the Sheriff's Department, and they have 4 locations. But anyhow, it's an opportunity for orphan children to stay together as a family unit. For example, if a single mom is incarcerated and she has 3 children, it's an opportunity for these 3 children to stay together as a family and be raised as a family. And anyhow, last year, Christmas time, some of my friends from the Tampa Bay Trump Club knew that I was sharing the mission of the Florida Sheriff Youth Branch, and they said, our president, Donald J. Trump, wanted us to get to children in need in our community, and that Christmas is for children. And because of my connection with the Florida Sheriff Youth Branch, the Tampa Bay Trump Club and the Florida Sheriff Youth Branch came together. So I wanted to say from the bottom of my heart, thank you very much for blessing the children. Thank you.
Great, Penny, great. I guess our next speaker is Kelly Rossi. Are you here? Here we go with the Edwards Connect. Going to give us a few words of what's going on with the kids.
Thank you so much for having me. I will be quick, but I'll be quick to the point of the needs of our local foster kids. No child asked to come to foster care, period. However, 7 kids every single day enter the foster care system in our just Tampa Bay area. We have about 7,000 kids between Pinellas, Pasco, and Hillsborough in our foster care system. The state of Tennessee has 8,000 total. I'm like, hold my beer from here in Florida, right? Our problems are bad. And when kids come in the foster care, they often come in with nothing but a trash bag or just the clothes on their back. So if you ever wonder where the items you have below are going, it's to the Eckerd Raising Hope program, located 24 hours a day in the foster care offices for the kids that enter like this. And the word that I heard from the building today is there were 13 kids removed in Pinellas County alone for child abuse and neglect. So if you don't think our community has an issue, please see me after the meeting. And also when kids come in the foster care, what the golf tournament helps raise money for is they don't get to go play Little League like a lot of their peers do. They don't get to go to band camp with the rest of their friends from high school. They may not get to go to homecoming like the rest of their friends do, all really because of a lack of money. Not because of a lack of caring from the system or their foster parents, but it's really a lack of money. So our golf tournament that is April 27th, that money is outside of state funding because the state doesn't give us money for those fun things for the kids or for clothes, shoes, hygiene items, school supplies, baby items. That's all funded by the community. That money goes to a separate pot where the kid needs something, there's an application, and they're able to do it. And again, 7,000 kids in our Tampa Bay area. We are your foster care agency. We do the best we can, but the community has to help. So if you have questions, I have these flyers with me. I also have the Raising Hope brochure with me if you're wondering about that program. And I'll turn it over to the Sheriff's Youth Ranch. So I thank you so much for having us and caring about our kids.
Okay, everybody. Andrew is going to help lead our auction. Has anybody seen, Andrew, what kind of phone do you have? Andrew is missing a Samsung phone. If anybody sees a wandering phone with legs, please let Andrew know. What color is it, Andrew? What's that? A black rubber case. Right now we're going to have an auction, and we're going to have different items that are going to come up. And I want everybody to dig deep and do what they can to help the kids. One of the things that we're going to be doing is, just so you know, in the back corner, Margot has bags of cookies that she made. And how much is a bag, Margot? $5 for a bag of cookies. All the money goes to the kids, and they're really good because I got one last time. So go get the cookies before they're gone. Also, she's got pocket constitutions. So if anybody wants to donate $5 so that the kids get $5, and you'll get a constitution that you can carry with you. And they've got it right there in the back corner. We've got another thing that's unusual that we're not doing. Okay, Dawn in the pink, she's going to stand up and show you who she is. She's going to be going table to table. And all you need to do is dig in and give anything from $1 to $150, and you can buy all the slips that are in the bucket. Each one of those slips is $1.
All right, everybody, we need to get your attention. You people in the line, you got to be listening to us over there. I know you want to all get to see Roger, but you got to hear what we got going on, all right?
Hey, everybody in that line, turn around this way while you're waiting, okay?
That's right, because we look better than nothing up there. You'll be all set. All right, oh my goodness. The first thing we're going to auction off is a Trump Make America Great 2020 floor mat. Very, very rare. This is a collector's item, I guarantee. I bet you if you try to step on it, it probably kicks back. But anyway, all right. What are we going to start this? What do you think we'll start it at, brother? $25. $25. Larry, 25, 25, hold on, 25, 25, 30, 30, 30, 30, 30, Larry, 30, 30, 25, 25, 25, 30, 30, 30, 35, 35, 35, 40, 40, 40, 40, 40, 40, 45 in the corner, 45 in front of Roger Stone, your little girl. She's spending more money than I got. All right, 45, 45, 45, 50, 50, 50, 50, 45, 50, 50, 50, I got 50. I got 50, I got 55, 55, 50, 50, 55, 55. Going once, going twice, $50 sold. We have two. Let's get your attention, please.
Can you start over?
Start all over again.
There you go.
We have an honored guest here tonight, Dr. Charlie Lashley. This gentleman is 97 years old. Can you stand up, Doc? He's in the corner over here. Let me tell you a little bit about this guy. He's a World War II veteran, Army Navy veteran, World War II veteran, Korean War veteran. Now this guy did the first open heart surgery in the state of Florida. He's a 1956 Harvard graduate. But he also was on the team that invented CPR. That I've used it a couple times. It's amazing. Anyway, this guy is a father, a grandfather, a great-grandfather. Now what's this about a bullfighter? Yeah. You're a bullfighter, Doc? Unbelievable. The Toreador. All right, now this guy's an all-American hero. Let's give him a round of applause. And Doc, thank you for everything you've done. You're a hero in my eyes. All right. What a treat we got tonight to have something like that here, huh? Anyway, our next speaker is our own Doreen McKinnon, and she's going to be up here for probably 3 hours talking about some problems the Republicans are having. But anyway, Doreen, you got it, huh?
Thank you.
All right, I wanted to make a bid for anyone who is not a registered Republican to consider changing to Republican, because the primary elections where Republicans elect people to support the president and his agenda is just as important, if not more important, within the party. So if anybody would like to change, would like to walk away from the other parties and change their voter registration to Republican and give us some support for the president's party to elect people to support him, then just hold up your hand and we'll come around with the registration forms. If you want to take some home, we have envelopes. They can send them directly to the supervisor of elections, and just raise your hand. We'll come around to you. Thank you.
All right, Doreen. Now, it's my privilege to introduce these girls up here. They've been waving signs for years. As a matter of fact, I believe one of them is the Sign Waiver of the Year award, which is Doreen. Here we go. Doreen, come on up and let us know we're going to be waving some signs. You and Lori, that's amazing. Penny, these guys are unbelievable, the signs they wave. You got no idea. Doreen, it's gone. She keeps going and going and going.
My name is Dawn, but I answer to anything. Okay, this Saturday, Court Street, Fort Harrison, free parking. What a crowd we have there going to the beach. We were there 2 weeks ago, and the response was about as good as it was just before the election. What I like, can everybody hear me? The response was like it was just before the election. What we like most about this particular spot is we get people from all over the United States going to the beach. And this is the Saturday before Easter. So anybody that would like to come out and join us, I have more than enough flags, more than enough signs. All I need is people. James, do you want me to go on with this golf thing, or is that what you're going to do?
We're going to save Dawn's voice a little bit. Okay, what Dawn is going to do now, Ecker, she's going to be out there going table to table, and if anybody's got $1, $2, $3, $5, $10, $20, whatever, you're going to buy a chance at playing in the golf tournament with us. And I forgot to tell everybody that the tournament's at a pretty nice place called Innisbrook. So it's not a bad course. It's going to include lunch. It's going to include dinner. We're going to have some fun all day long. I was there last year. It was a great time. So I forgot. April 27th, 2 weeks from now. And so basically, anybody that wants to put in a shot, it's kind of like a drawing, $1 a page. And when we get all those pages filled in, we're going to draw somebody out and they're going to play golf with me. What's that? Okay, and if everybody can put their hands up, Dawn can go, and she can go out there and help you buy your chances. All right, and now I'm going to have Lori. Lori's got some important information for us, and petition and things like that.
Into the first. That's just the update. Okay. How many here want to have their vote, their voice counted when it comes to voting? Good. Dawn is passing out petitions, and what these petitions are designed to do, it's going to change the Florida Constitution to allow voters, for the Constitution to say, instead of every citizen, it's going to be only citizens to vote. This is being spearheaded by a gentleman who is a Republican state senator in Missouri, John Loud. He's the chairman over on the other coast of Florida. And this is being done because the liberals have got a nationwide program going on. And when I spoke to him about George's credentials, he said, I need somebody like that on my advisory board. So I hooked the two gentlemen up. They spoke, and George got invited to be on the advisory board. So congratulations, George.
All right, who needs a form? Raise your hand. Hello? Pay attention. Who needs a form? Julie, you got it?
Okay, everybody, we're going to have our next speaker now. A lot of you know him. He's been at several other meetings. He's been with us for a couple of years. He's a very, very strong Trump supporter. He's an expert in international terrorism. He's taught all over the world. He's been all over the world. And he actually, is anybody here like a guy named Charlie Crist? Is there anybody that really likes him? Okay. Well, George had never run for any office whatsoever, and he ran against Charlie Crist last time, and he had a budget. His entire campaign cost $30,000, which is like a joke. It's like a couple newspaper ads. But he did that, and he came within about 10 points of Charlie Crist. Nobody knew who he was, and George could pull it off this time. So George is going to run again against Charlie Crist, and he has a lot better chance, and you guys can help him out. And he's going to tell us a little bit about why we don't need to be letting the bad guys over our borders.
Thank you, appreciate it. Now we're going to pick up with November of 2020. We're going to take Charlie down. I'm running, like I said, I've never run before. I only announced 10 months before the election. I never had a Facebook page because I wasn't allowed to because of some of the work I did for the government. And yes, I still have my top secret clearance. So anybody in this room who's got a security clearance received a letter under the Obama administration where their computers were hacked. Their families have been threatened. My daughter was 18 years old and her private information was hacked by foreign entities. So we're going to be changing that. We're going to make some of the people in Washington pay for some of these crimes that they have committed under the Obama administration. And I'm going to be one of the ladies for it. I'm not up there to make friends. This is just like raising kids. I'm not going to be my child's best friend. I'm going to be a parent. So you know the way Washington is? It's all about being a parent. And it's child psychology because we've seen some of the things that Charlie's done. How many just received a letter from Charlie saying all his accomplishments in the first quarter? Some accomplishments. I'd like to champion this. I'd like to do this. Well, guess what? I've already been somebody. And a little background about myself, for some of you who don't know it, my background is I went in the military as an air rescue firefighter. So my job was rescuing people, jumping out of helicopters, going into hazardous hot zones, pulling people out. Came out of the military and became a full-time firefighter. And I've done public service all my life. I'm fourth-generation firefighter. And I just found out through Ancestry.com with the DNA that one of my relatives was the last volunteer fire chief for the village of Brooklyn. New York City Fire Department went full-time in the 1850s. That's how far my blood goes back with firefighting. I'm too old to run into burning buildings now. So I'm going to go ahead and help with the legislation. I'm going to work with veterans. I'm going to work with the people of Pinellas County. And I'm planning on giving also, I became a professor. I went to college on my days off as a firefighter. I used to teach at USF. I taught at the College of Public Health. I've written 6 books on biological terrorism. I've been around the world. I've been to 48 countries in the last 20 years. I've worked catastrophic disasters, all for humanitarian reasons, representing the United States government, the Air Force, the Army. They sent me into catastrophic disasters. I worked 9/11. I was down at Hurricane Katrina. I was one of the first 4 Americans in Banda Aceh, Indonesia, which is in the northern province of Sumatra, the island of Sumatra. 230,000 fatalities. And I started setting up command and control operations for the U.S. government along with the United Nations. So guess what? I'm not a quitter. in the crisis. I lost friends because my family is very deep-rooted in the fire service. I lost friends in 9/11, and I will never forget what's going on. It's disgusting to see. And what we're running into, as an academic person, I'm working on a paper, a white paper, we call it a white paper, it's a research paper, on cultural terrorism right now. Because we have to start remembering what's going on. We're letting people into this country, in the southern border, we have no idea who they are. Guess what? This cultural terrorism, if you go to Dearborn, Michigan, and you go to a CVS, or whatever drugstore they have, whatever drugstore they have in Dearborn, Michigan, there are 2 waiting rooms. One for male and one for female. Go up there and research it. But the press is afraid to say anything because our United States of America has become too PC. We have cultural terrorism going on. Afghanistan used to be a Buddhist country. What is it now? Muslim. Also, Pakistan was Hindu. And in 1947, it broke away from India and became a Muslim country. We're watching Europe have cultural terrorism, and we're doing it now. Who supports Omar? That's right. Democrats. I like that. The deep state. So what we have to do is rebuild our American culture. Okay? My family's been here for many, many years. I did the DNA and I found out things I didn't even know I was. I'm 42% Scandinavian, I'm 41% Irish, and the rest Scots Welsh. But you know something? That don't mean nothing to me, because I'm American. I'm not a hyphen American. And nobody in this country should be a hyphen American. We are Americans, we have our culture. And if we don't stand up now and get rid of the political correctness, we are going to be in a world of hurt very, very soon. So hopefully you'll support me. Of course, I'm looking for money, and you can donate heavily to my campaign. My website is georgebuckjr.com. And even if it's not money, support is more important. That's what I want. I want your vote. Because I did it last time without a lot of money, and I'm going to do it this time with more money, and I'm going to take Charlie now.
Right now, I have the honor of introducing the parents, of Mark Bingham. He was on Flight 93, the 9/11. He was the one that actually went after the hijackers on this flight, man. These are his parents, and they're going to speak to us in a few minutes. Thank you very much. Jerry and Karen.
If I could have your attention, please. I know there's a lot of chatter going on. These people are, here on their own accord. But my name is Rick Sarmiento with Bikers for 45. I've known the Binghams for many years now. Their son, Mark Bingham, was 31 years old on September 11, 2001. Just briefly, he had a business in New Jersey and in California. He was supposed to fly out the day before September 10th. He missed that flight. He got up late Tuesday morning, got to the airport late, and was the last passenger to board Flight 93, United Flight 93. He was seated in seat 4D next to, was it Tom Burnett? Tom Burnett. If you Google the name Mark Bingham, he's one of the 4 notable heroes on Flight 93, along with Todd Beamer, Let's Roll, Tom Burnett, and Jeremy Glick. The family members had the opportunity to listen to the cockpit recorders. And many of you may not know this, but they actually gained access into the cockpit. And they were pretty close to regaining control of the airplane before it crashed in Shanksville, Pennsylvania. So this is Jerry, his father, and this is Karen, his mom, and I'm going to let them say a few words.
This is my son. One thing though, he did not die on 9/11 because some people did something. He died, he was killed by terrorists. That, 9/11 has been brought to the forefront again, and it's not funny. These 2,976 7 people died that day. It's funny, we're 18 years almost into this. We're not safe. We have got to build that wall. We have got to keep pumping. We have got to keep organized. And that's why I'm here. Because we are going to fight and fight hard to get this done. Because I don't want my grandchildren to deal with what we dealt with in 2001. Thank you guys for having me.
My wife about said it all, but I want to tell you that it's no easy task living for 20 years without your son. No easy task. So vote who you want to. I kind of like Trump, and he's good, as far as I'm concerned. So please do what you can, and we'll be right behind you. Thank you.
Thank you guys.
All right, that's a special story. Let's be real here. You know, one thing I would like to do myself that hasn't been brought up tonight, but this Sunday happens to be Easter Sunday. And I think that we need to have a little prayer here for Easter Sunday, because believe me, without Jesus Christ, there will be no Donald Trump. Okay? Because I believe he is the one guiding him to do what he has to do to this country. Anyway, how about, please stand for a prayer, please? Thank you. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us to temptation, but deliver us from evil. Amen. Dear Lord, please take care of Donald Trump, because I know you're his guiding hands every day. Thank you. Happy Easter, everybody. All right. Our next speaker has been here before. His name is John Carroll, and he's giving us some stories on socialism in Ecuador. You got it, John. I didn't recognize the last name other than for Johnny Florida. But anyway.
You're keeping track of the time, right, Andrew? You're keeping track of the time? Hey, for everybody that knows me, they're keeping me on the clock, so I can't talk to them. But, thank you. So, 5 years ago, just over 5 years ago, I took a trip to Ecuador. I was on a humanitarian trip with my university, and we went to the capital in Quito. Very beautiful place, very historical. One of the hallmarks for the Jesuits in Latin America. But the worst thing is that Ecuador is one of the most socialist countries in Latin America. We hear about Cuba, and we hear about Venezuela, and all that. But there's always the third one people forget about, and that's President Rafael Correa and Ecuador. And for everybody, I know there's a lot of New Yorkers in here like myself. You guys know about the shanty towns and the shanty villages for homeless people that we see on the turnpikes and everything? You see some here in Florida as well. That was the majority of the capital of Ecuador. There's the historical city districts that's built up. But we stayed at a working boys center that's ran by a priest, and he started it decades back, helping out boys out in the streets so that way they could get educated, get trained up. Now he trains the entire families: carpentry, sewing and knitting, cooking, automotive, education, schools for the kids, and we went to some of the areas where some of the families that went to the center live. And the entire neighborhoods, we're talking thousands of people, are living in shanty villages put together by anything. And we talked to some of the families in this and trying to find out what it takes for them to get their houses. All the land is a hallmark of socialism. All the land belongs to the government. And they got to save up. It only costs $6,000 for a plot of land.
but things are so bad down there that they can only afford, if lucky, to save $100 a month. That's $1,200 a year. That means it takes them 5 years to save up enough to buy the land, let alone building the house. And most of the land they can buy is up in the mountains, which to us we see as a luxury. To them it's impossible because it doesn't mean they have all the construction equipment to get in and try to build houses. They don't have that many contracting companies for the regular civilians to purchase. We found out that the president, this another hallmark with socialism is they want absolute power and they're threatened if other people have influence. This priest that runs the Senate is in his 70s, potentially his 80s. I don't remember his exact age, but 70s, 80s by the time I met him. And the president was so threatened by him and by the Senate because they did such good work that the president tried to create his own program similar to the center, hoping to take power away from him. The priest doesn't want power. He's one of these people you hear about that he's doing good things, but he doesn't want power. He doesn't want influence. But the people are behind him for all the good work. And the president was threatened by him because if someone else is doing good and it's under the government control, people can't be dependent on the government. You know? The funny thing about this is the program under Correa failed miserably. And he ended up shutting it down and had to realize, I'm going to try to make an ally of the priest, which he didn't. He'd come out and make some speeches and he'd do some things, but the priest, to my knowledge, did not want anything to do with the government other than maybe some extra help. And ironically, 2 years after I left, child labor was a big problem in Ecuador. It still is to a point. And 2 years after I left, wow, it was actually 6 years ago, not 5. Because in 2015, the Ecuadorian government came out and showed appreciation to the center for all the work they've done to helping out the people, that they helped contribute to the reduction of child labor in Ecuador. In 2006, it was up to 16%. By the time that they made this announcement, child labor went down to 3%. And the Working Center, you guys can take a look, even as check it out on Wikipedia, check it out online. It's called the Working Boy Center of Quito, Ecuador. And what this shows is, once again, the government wants to have full power and control. Okay, and I know some people are thinking, okay, it's not a big deal, something like that. Okay, you don't have to worry about too much. But we're hearing right now that politicians want to do away with Medicare, put everything under the government. We're hearing about people wanting to get rid of other fundamental rights because they want the government to control. How do I do? Okay, so what this is showing is that the government wants full control, and even a priest who's not trying anything is threatened basically by the government, and because the government feels threatened. With the last little bit I just want to close out by saying this. Ecuador was a complete socialist country. It still is to a point. The new president is simmering it down a little, but it's still there. But ironically, for one of the most socialist countries, in 2000, their money, the sucre, was so worthless that they had to abandon it. What have they been using as their currency? Does anybody know? Since 2000, even under the regime of socialism, does anybody know what they use as their currency? Right there. This. They consider us to be evil. Rafael Correa was best friends with Chavez and with Fidel, and he can't stand the U.S., but guess what? Ecuador is one of the, along with Panama, and there's a couple of micronations, but Ecuador is one of the biggest countries on the planet. They don't have their own currency. They consider capitalism evil, but they use our dollar. And they want to say that we're a problem. We're the reason they're not collapsed completely. They were on the verge of collapse and then switched to us. So capitalism, once again, is saving a socialist country. So just wanted to point that out and be grateful for this, because even socialists need capitalists sometimes, and even socialists need America. So, thank you.
I have a 26-year-old daughter with a $200,000 education from Florida State that lives in Miami. And she had called me up a week before the midterm elections. Now, she's known me all my life and knows just how I think, right? So she calls me up a week before the midterm elections. Now, I've known Ron DeSantis' father for 35 years, and I've cut Ron's hair since he was this big. But anyway, she calls me up and she says, you know, Dad, she says, we're living down in Miami, and Alex was her husband. She says, we'd like to buy our own home. But you know, the cheapest home here is $400,000. and we figured maybe you'd be able to help us out with a down payment. So I said, you know, honey, when the time comes, let me know. And she goes, oh, by the way, I voted today. I says, you did? Well, who did you vote for? Well, I voted for Andrew Gillum. I says, you what? You voted for Andrew Gillum? I says, you know what? You need to call up Andrew Gillum and you need to ask him for the down payment on your house. And I hung up. That was the best thing I did. It was unbelievable. I said, where did this girl come from? This is a $200,000 education. She should have lied to me at least, right? At least lie. But anyway, Tamara, it's yours. Now tell your story. Stop that one, honey.
So, I'm 34, what we call an untraditional college student. I'm using a Montgomery GI Bill. We'll kind of let a GI Bill, but using my Montgomery. And I'm in the School of Social Work at USF Tampa. I got my associates from St. Petersburg College in St. Pete, the Gibbs campus, 66th Street. There I learned about an organization called Young Americans for Liberty. I learned about them because I was what we call a political refugee. I didn't know where I belonged. My parents told me I was a Democrat. I knew I wasn't a Democrat. So I found Young Americans for Liberty on my campus. I ultimately became the president of our chapter, and then I became a state chair where I was on their payroll, and I was paid to travel from different college campuses across the state of Florida to promote activism, libertarianism, and conservatism. It was lovely. Then I transferred to USF Tampa, School of Social Work. Basically, it's a hybrid of anthropology, socialism, and psychology. It's a school. The School of Social Work is basically a study of where we want to help disenfranchised populations. We want to recognize their struggles, but the whole entire curriculum is perpetual racism. They are disenfranchising these people more than you can even imagine by thinking they're helping them, by catering to their stereotypes. You can't look the Native Americans in their eyes. You can't look the Chinese in their eyes when you counsel them. You can't do that. Black people are automatically, in their genes, disenfranchised. You need to understand their struggles. You need to cater to their issues. I'm sorry, I'm a Republican. I see no skin color. I see no race. I see a group of people, human beings, that are going through their own personal issues. It may blame it on this person or that person. But at the end of the day, we're all just people, and we all are having issues. I will look that Chinese client in his eyes, and I will show him it's okay to look me in the eyes. Don't tell me to not look them in the eye, because that's racism. They can't look me in the eye because that's where they were raised. They have a problem with me, so don't try to pull them out of their shell. Don't try to show them the American way. No, that's wrong. We're not doing that. So my time in the School of Social Work is writing papers on things that I believe, doing discussion posts on topics that I believe in. Discussion posts are a place in university where you're supposed to entertain your thought and allow for someone else to either agree or disagree, and then you agree or disagree back, and you have an educated conversation, right? No. Let's just say I lost a letter grade in one of my classes because I spoke my mind. I challenged other students in my class on their discussion posts and their beliefs, and challenged them to think outside of the box and that their narrow-minded ideas could be expanded. I lost points. I got nasty grams from the professor telling me what I did was wrong. You don't do that. You don't attack people. I didn't attack anyone. I just said, I think you should probably think a little bit outside of the box. I lost a letter grade in that class because of my discussion posts. My GPA was affected because of what I believe in. Time and time again, when I talk out loud in class, I'm in a policy class now, and I'm constantly raising my hand and talking about policies that are important to me and chiming in.
And the teacher can't change the topic any quicker, it seems. But if somebody else is speaking on something that she agrees with, they don't get silence. They don't get told to be quiet. The topic doesn't get changed within moments. And this is every single one of my classes that I speak up in. I'm being silenced. I'm being acknowledged and ignored, mostly ignored. I'm 34 years old. There's probably about a 15 to 20 year gap between me and my professors. I'm not 18, I'm not 19, I'm not some child. I've served in the military. I've been through 2 other careers before I decided that I wanted to change and work for myself, and that's why I started the School of Social Work. So at the end of the day, you can only imagine what would it be like for this insane indoctrination that they're pumping into these children's minds. These are 18, 19, 20, 21-year-old students. They come from homes where people are either politically ignorant or just not involved at all. They walk onto a college campus and boom, this is what they're getting fed. They're getting fed perpetual racism, nonstop, and they just think they're helping, but they're making matters worse. I'm 34 and I can see it. I can fight against it. And I do my very best to fill these kids in. Hey, why don't you guys, think this? Why don't you think that? Why don't you check this out? I'm always sending the group, the cohort, different articles and different ideas, and I still continue to speak up in class, despite me constantly getting shut down. As a matter of fact, right now, to qualify for the Master's Fast Track program at the School of Social Work at USF, you need a B or above in all your classes. I've managed to speak up so much in one of my classes I have a C. And the semester ends next week. So it looks like I'm going to summer school because I decided to stand up for what I thought was right. And now I have to spend more money to avoid spending more money. Thank you.